Gypsy. I'm finally, I just want to send a quick video to thank everyone for the massive amount of support that I've been getting on social media. Everyone has been really, really nice and supportive, and I really appreciate that. It's nice to be home. I'm back home in Louisiana, enjoying a beautiful day outside, and I've got a lot of great things happening really soon. I've got my
Hey friends, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. It's Thursday, January 4th, 2024, and I hope everyone's having a wonderful day. Well, Gypsy Rose Blanchard is free after serving 8.5 years in Missouri correctional facilities. Gypsy is going to be free for the very first time in her entire life, and she was released to live with her new husband, Ryan Anderson. I told you several months ago about the marriage, about her pending release, and today we're going to just talk about what's next for Gypsy. So, as many of you know, I became connected to Gypsy's family back in 2019. I was actually approached by this woman who was claiming that she was a friend of the family and said that she had access to the family and wanted to do an interview with me because I had covered her case on my channel. It was through that interview that I realized this woman was not connected to the family, and that prompted me to reach out to the family for clarification because I was confused. That started a 4.5-year friendship with Gypsy's stepmother, Kristy, and her inner circle of friends. And so today my video isn't so much about all the news that's been happening in the public or all the different news articles that are coming out about her and all the new revelations that are coming out, but more so just about where is Gypsy today. So let's dive into this topic because Gypsy has quite a few projects coming up, and if you are interested in her story, she has a brand new docuseries that will start airing tomorrow night on Lifetime Television. It is a 6-part series that will have 2 episodes airing over 3 nights. So 2 episodes will be released tomorrow night, 2 episodes on Saturday night, and 2 episodes on Sunday night. And then she was filming for a series that will come out, I believe, this summer on Lifetime about her release. So everything that's coming out now was filmed while she was still. She also has a brand new book, an ebook coming out, which is coming on January 9th of 2024. The book is available where you can purchase ebooks anywhere. And it is her conversations with her co-author, which are transcripts of these conversations, journals and entries that she wrote while she was still in prison, and her reflections on her growth, what she's learned, a review for what is a bigger book that I think is coming out next year. She's writing a memoir that will be through a publisher that is going to be print. This is an ebook about her release. So let's dive into the topic. Before we do, make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed, and click on the bell so you never miss a video. So Gypsy was released on Thursday of last week on December 28th. I actually took the week off, so I wasn't here to make a video on the topic. And honestly, because I'm friends with the family, I don't really talk a ton about her on this channel, but I felt like this release and her new life deserves a moment. There have been so many people speaking out. There have been so many creators, so many people. It's a very hot topic. There's a lot of opinions about what people think about her, how they feel about her. She's been followed by the paparazzi. Everyone is interested in her, and some people are outraged because they say that she is famous. Now, she's amassed a huge following on her social media, but you have to remember, Gypsy didn't ask to be famous. Hulu decided to make her life into a fictionalized, dramatized version of her life. And they created a series that used her name, but a lot of the information that was provided in the series wasn't actually true. So if you followed her trial, if you followed her case, so many details of the act weren't actual reality. So when a network like Hulu takes someone's likeness and puts information out there, she became almost like an instant celebrity overnight. And so now coming out of prison, she has this huge amount of people that are watching her because they've watched the act and they're like, oh, I saw the act. She's free now. She's free, right? So she has quickly amassed over 6 million followers over on her Instagram. And her goal in all of this, according to her Instagram and to all of the interviews, is that she wants to be an advocate. She also has her own healing to do, and she's newly married. So here's a couple pieces of information I can share with you about all of the stuff that's going on. Gypsy, first and foremost, is a human being that went through a lot in her childhood, and what her mom put her through with all of the unnecessary medical procedures that she never needed were, I don't think any of us could ever try to comprehend the lengths that her mother took to keep her in a state of infantilization and dependency. Her mom never wanted her to be free. Her mom never wanted her to leave her. And her mom basically created all of this for attention for herself. And she ran a massive scam, and she was able to get free trips for Gypsy. Gypsy met celebrities. She claimed that Gypsy had leukemia and needed a feeding tube and had muscular dystrophy and had multiple surgeries, and none of it was necessary. And it wasn't until her arrest for Dee Dee's death that she learned the truth about her life, and most of it was false. So there's been a lot in the media about Gypsy that so many people have talked about. There's been entire podcasts by Dr. Phil about him, like an entire year worth of where they dove into the methodology and Dee Dee's mind. There's been so many creators on YouTube and true crime reports. And now for the first time, following her release, Gypsy is going to have the opportunity to share her story in her own words. So one question I have been getting a lot of is, with her new series, is Gypsy going to be able to profit off her notoriety even though she has a conviction? And the simple answer is, in the state of Missouri, there's no laws that are preventing her from speaking about what happened to her. There's no laws preventing her from discussing her life and what happened to her as a child. And there's also no laws preventing her from speaking about her crime. Some states do have laws against this called Son of Sam laws, but many states have struck these down because freedom of speech. So what she wants to do, though, is use her platform to actually advocate for other victims of what's called Munchausen's by proxy. So her 6-part series is going to discuss her recovering, is going to go into the never before parts of her life, where a lot was known in the criminal case about what led up to it. Why did she feel like her only way out was to end her mom's life? Did she manipulate Nick? Why is he still in prison when she's out? There's all of these questions. And the docuseries is going to have her diving into, in more detail, aspects of her childhood that were never part of the trial, that have never been part of these documentaries. And when you think of how they've portrayed the act, and they said that she had an allergy, and that's how Dee Dee made it seem like she had allergic to sugar, that was never part of her actual case. Like, that was never part of what Dee Dee did to her. She's also going to make accusations against her grandfather. So People magazine really recently did an interview with her, and they got a sneak peek of the docuseries, and she's going to accuse her grandfather, Dee Dee's father, Claude, of essaying her when she was a child. And she's also going to accuse Claude, her grandfather, Dee Dee's father, of essaying her mom. So there's going to be allegations of essay, which Claude denies in the docuseries. There are going to be her talking about how her mom alienated her from her father, and how she was told lies about her dad that she didn't even know were false. She truly believed that her dad didn't want anything to do with her. And that's the story that Dee Dee basically gave her and fed her whole life. She is going to go into more detail about the different procedures that she had to go through, her state of mind at the time of her crime, and why she chose to end her mom's life. Now, a lot of people have been very critical of her, and they're like, she shouldn't be able to make money off of this or tell her story. And as long as she's not committing any crimes, she has the ability in the state of Missouri to tell her story and do it. I think what is interesting, though, in everything that's been coming out is that it's not really about what happened to her mom, but her understanding what happened to her. The biggest thing that I've learned from Kristy, her mom, her stepmom, through the years of Gypsy's incarceration has been Gypsy's lack of identity in herself, because she didn't have an identity before, when her mom was like, had all kinds of control over her. She wasn't allowed to grow up. She wasn't allowed to have friends. She wasn't allowed to go to school. She wasn't allowed anywhere near, like, her mom didn't let her do anything. She couldn't walk. She couldn't eat. Her mom was controlling all aspects of her life. Gypsy says in People, in an article that was posted yesterday or today, that the reason she really felt desperate leading up to her mom's death was that she was facing yet another surgery. And her mom had convinced doctors to do a procedure on her larynx because of her vocal cords and her voice being high-pitched. Dee Dee had her salivary glands removed, had Gypsy's salivary glands removed, made her put Orajel on her teeth, on her gums, and made her drool excessively so that doctors would take out these glands, manipulated doctors into believing that she needed a feeding tube. It's what this woman has gone through is so severe. And I have a hard time with people that are super judgmental of her choices, given that they don't really understand her life. So the last several days, there's been a lot of articles that have been put out by her about, like, oh, a strip club offered her a job, or, you know, YouTubers saying she's not a celebrity, she's a criminal, we shouldn't be celebrating her, or friends, like people posing as friends of the family and trying to get interviews with outlets. And all I can say is that the family that I know is not doing this for money. They're not doing this for notoriety. They're not doing this for fame. They're placed into this situation simply because the act made a show about her. When a show depicted her in a false light, like it just put details of her that weren't true into the public sphere. And even though it said it was dramatized, people associate that with her. And I can understand clearly why she would want to set the record straight on that. And I can understand why production companies and book publishers would want her to write a book, because she has this huge platform now. And her goal in all of this is to be able to help other people understand better what Munchausen by proxy is, what the red flags are, how to prevent doctors. She wants to help change laws. She hopes one day to set up a nonprofit so that she can help other victims of Munchausen's by proxy. She wants to educate teachers and doctors and do speaking engagements. And she's also hoping that through all of that, she can work with lawmakers to help strengthen laws for doctors, more strict laws for doctors in regards to procedures for children, so that everything is due diligence is done. Because in her case, her whole medical history is a giant red flag. Her mom doctor shopped. Her mom got and convinced doctors to do procedures on her that weren't necessary, and manipulated doctors to do what she wanted. And then none of the doctors have ever been held accountable for all of the things that she's been put through. She also will never, ever, ever say that she's happy that her mom is dead. So if you're expecting her to be grateful that Dee Dee is no longer here, she's never going to hear that. In fact, she's extremely remorseful of all of this for her role. She's remorseful for, getting Nicholas involved in this case. She's so heartbroken that this is where her life came to. And she's also really hopeful for her future. When I think back to my very first conversations with Kristy and the years that I've known the family and just known about her growth and everything that's happened while she was in prison, none of which I've really talked about publicly because frankly, not everything is newsworthy. It's certainly not my story to tell. And I just constantly see all of these creators and outlets talking about her like she's not even a human. She's like some sort of spectacle, a sideshow, a train wreck. People are derogatory about what she's done and and the choices that she's made. And, she gets a lot of support, but then she also gets a lot of hate. And watching the family have to navigate that I've never gone through this before in my life. I've never been party to anyone that's been involved in a case like this. I didn't try to even insert myself or even try to get to know them. It honestly happened because of what this one person did. They contacted me, wanted an interview, and they said they were friends with the family. And there's so much that's going to be coming out in the next 2 days. I've already read her book, her ebook. Her stepmom sent me a copy, and just to prepare me for the onslaught of everything that's going to be coming out, because there are people literally that are just hell-bent on destroying her, hell-bent on making sure that she goes back to prison, hell-bent on her failing. And when I saw all of this coverage happening, I thought, I don't want to be the kind of person that's feeding into this narrative about her that's making her an object. She's not an object. She's a person with a very complex story, a person whose story became a massive story because of the act, and a person whose story is so complicated and layered that not only is she a perpetrator, but she's a victim. And the state has recognized that she's a victim. That's why she got a 10-year sentence. And when I think about all of the crap she's had to deal with while she's been incarcerated, all of the gossip, all of the horrible stories, and all the people that have betrayed her, and all of the people that have betrayed the family, all the crap that they still are getting, even with this release, it just breaks my heart, because I feel like if you guys knew who the Blanchards were and what they're about, you would know that they're not about what people say they are. There's literally creators that have gone to lengths to try to keep her incarcerated, wrote letters to the parole board. They have effectively stalked her to the point that they had people inside the prison as like informants for them. She went from a kid that had no access to the outside world because her mom was so controlled of her, to every move she made being followed and stalked. And she didn't sign up for that at all. All she wanted was freedom from her mom. And when I was reading her book, which comes out on the 9th, I was incredibly impressed with her growth. I was impressed with how far she's come. I was impressed with her insightfulness about how she got there. I was impressed with her remorse for her role, for her responsibility. I was impressed with her sorrow for her mom not being here. And I was impressed with the fact that even though she felt like she had no other choice at that time, she doesn't want anyone else to ever make that choice that she made. She never wants to what happened to her happen to anyone else. Her family doesn't ever want to have another child go through what she went through. They want to work to help educate people about what Munchausen's by proxy is, which is a caregiver, generally a mother, forcing illness, faking illness, manipulating illness, because they want the attention of being a caregiver for a sick person. And for Gypsy, her mom used really twisted methods to keep her paralyzed in a wheelchair, in that she told her she couldn't walk, and her book goes into so much of what her mom did to her. But one part that I just keep coming back to in all of this, and why I wanted to make this video, was that I've sat on so much information. I don't put it out there because none of it is relevant. And I'm just glad that Gypsy finally has a platform to tell her story. And I do believe that she will be able to use her voice for good. I don't believe in my heart that she will reoffend. I don't think she is a threat to our society. I think she was faced with insurmountable obstacles in her life, and her mom put her into a place where she had a guardianship over her and said she was incompetent, that she felt was her only way out. And now today she feels like she made a mistake, a massive one, and she misses her mom. And while creators will say, don't celebrate her, don't glorify her, while people are hellbent on trying to destroy her, just remember that none of us will understand what anyone else is going through. We will never understand the choices that someone makes or what takes them to a point where they feel like this is their only way out. And we'll also never understand what it's like to be so isolated from the world that when you get to prison, the first time you've ever had a friend is in prison, or the first time you're like being in prison is like going to high school, and like going to prison, you had a second-degree education and you come out with a GED, or going to prison is the first time you have a job. I mean, she never had opportunities for any of that in the real world. Prison was literally like high school and college for her, but it was prison. And now she's free, and everyone has opinions. And I'm just going to say, let her make mistakes, let her learn, let her grow. Try not to micromanage every detail of her life. Read her book if you want to read her book. Don't read her book if you don't want to read her book. Watch her series if you want to watch her series. Don't watch her series if you don't. But this notion that she has somehow asked for fame and she's gloating in it and glorifying in it is such crap. And I will stick my butt out and defend the family tooth and nail because I know them and I know that they're good people. Her series starts on tomorrow night. It's over 3 nights. Her ebook comes out on Tuesday. There's more to come next summer with a limited series with her release. And I just hope that throughout all of this, change happens. More is known about Munchausen's by proxy. Laws can be established for not only parents, but doctors. Systems can be put into place to track medical records, like universal healthcare systems. There's just a lot that happened to her that didn't need to happen. And had people been able to interfere in all of it when she was a child, her mom would still be here, probably in prison, and she would have never had to go through what she went through. Be mindful of your consumption of this and listen with an open heart. And I hope you come out of it and experience her the way I've gotten to know her family and what I've learned about her through her family. And I hope you see that just because someone commits an atrocious crime doesn't always mean they're a horrible, bad person. Tell me what your thoughts are in the comments below. Bye, guys.